In our last video, we added the ability to delete a task from our to-do list, as demonstrated here. So now let's add the ability to class a task as done, or toggle the ability to class as done and undone. Let's go into our app.tsx file, and first let's actually make the button. So button, and we'll call it done for now. Let's close the button and let's give it an on-click event. And we will assign it to a method called toggle done. This method doesn't exist yet. Let's do our typical fat arrow function to change the context of this method to the method of this class and not inside the render. And let's make this method once more. It's a public method because it's affecting something in HTML. And currently I think it's going to return a void. It might change down the line, but I think it will be a void. Okay, one thing I didn't mention in the previous video is some kind of this ES6 thing you can do, whereby instead of having two names, if something has the same name, you can get rid of the double name and just keep one name. So if I call this tasks, instead of filtered tasks, that means this name will also be tasks. And instead of saying let's assign tasks to tasks, I can get rid of one of the tasks and one of the colons, and this will work. I'm going to use a similar technique in this next method I'm going to create, and I'll explain to you line by line what's going to happen. Right, I'll write the code first, and then I'll explain to you afterwards with some examples. So I'll create a let variable task, and that will be an array of tasks. That's what the type will be, and it will get all the tasks in the array and splice it based on the index and number 1. Now you're going to select index here. I haven't actually called the index, so I haven't actually passed the index in, sorry. So let's do that. So the index that's over here, pass it in here, and that's a number. So Typescript knows what type that is. Okay. Then it will get the task that has been spliced, get the completed attribute of it, and we'll toggle it to the opposite of what it is. And then what we're going to do is have a const of current tasks, which will be type of tasks that is an array. Sorry, task. And then that will equal. Actually, you know what? I'll leave this. No, actually, I'll go ahead and finish typing everything because it will look confusing at first, but once I explain it, it all makes sense. Okay, and final line of this method will be to set the state to task current task. So I'll leave this for now. I won't do any ES6 destructuring just yet until I explain what this is doing. Right. So I've gone about kind of a roundabout way of making a task done or undone. What I've done is basically finding the task from state with the ID. So each task has an ID because it's an array. Then removing it. So I'm splicing it, removing it completely. Getting the spliced task, which is in an array, is the only thing in the array. That's why I've put 0. And then switching whatever's inside it, the completed value. So if it's true, it'll be false. If it's false, it'll be true. And then putting it back inside the state with the spread operator. So I'm spreading what's currently inside the state, which would be the removed entry that's been called from the index, and then I'm going to put it back with this switch around. This should be called index and not I. That'll come back to bite me in the future if I haven't changed it. Okay, and now I'm going to go into the browser and then show you a few things that I've written in code, show you how they work. So let me just make an example here. So if I had an array, let's have a test array of, I don't know, of 1, a bunch of strings, 2, and 3. As you see, my array is 1, 2, 3. So what this is doing is taking 1 out based on the position. So the index over here will be 0, 1, and 2. So if I wanted to get rid of 2, what I do is I do array.splice, get the index of it, which is 1, so it'll be 1, and then remove one thing after 1, so it'll be 1. So I've got 1, removing one thing after 1. If I hit enter, I get 2. And if I go back to the array, it will show me 1 and 3. So I've plucked out 2, and 2 is in position 0. And that's why over here I've got position 0 of completed, and I'm switching what's inside it and putting it back. Now this is a very basic example, so I'm going to show you the example actually working inside the code. What I'm going to do is put in the keyword debugger into here. So it's in the middle of this method, and just show you that it's working. So let's check in the terminal to make sure we've got no errors. Okay, we've got some TypeScript errors. Let's see what the issue is. Okay, so I've called something task that should be tasks. What line is it? 10, 40. Okay, this should be tasks, not task. Cool, and that's the power of TypeScript types. I mean, with just normal JSX, it wouldn't tell you that you've made this error. You'd have to find it in a difficult way. Right. So if I replicate my example, so 1, 2, 3, and then class 1 is done, it's going to hit the debugger that I wrote, and I can manipulate what's inside the code at this stage of the code. So if I clear everything inside here and just do this dot state dot tasks, these are all the tasks. And basically what it's done, I clicked on 3, so it's popped out 3, as in it's spliced it. So if I write the word task, which is my let variable, I should have 3. Okay. It's changed it from false to true at this stage. And what I've done here, current tasks, is opened up what's inside tasks already, which is here. So it's opening it up and then opening up that one, 3, and then it puts it back in as tasks. So I hope that's made more sense. Before I continue, I'll make sense of this line because this might be quite confusing to people who are new to JS. Basically what it's doing is if I have something that's true, it's going to make it equal the opposite of what it is, so it will make that false and then make it equal false, and it'll keep doing it back and forth, so it's a quick way of toggling. What I'm going to do now is just change this to tasks so that I can name this just tasks. Format the code and show it to you inside the browser. So debugger should be out. I don't want it to stop the code. So if I run everything, okay, 1, 2, 3, and let's add a 4 as well. So let's say I've done task 1 and I've done task 3. They both go to the bottom because it's restructured the state. And if I look in here, as you can see, task 1 is true, so that's completed. Task 3 is true, and these two are not completed. So this is all well and good inside the console, but as a user, if I were actually using this to-do list, I couldn't tell what's been done or what hasn't been done. So in the next video, let's add some styling to tell the user what's going on in the to-do list.